What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Week 13 Trade Value Stream. We are joined by Peaked in High School, the guy behind the beautiful trade charts that we're going to be using to answer your questions today. What's up, Alex?
Hey, guys. Did you guys have a nice Thanksgiving? I haven't seen you.
It's a very good point. I've seen you in the chat a couple times, but yeah, we haven't got to discuss it. My Thanksgiving was solid. How about yours, Simon?
It was pretty good. On actual Thanksgiving, I had to work all day, but then we did the Thanksgiving dinner on Saturday, and it was really nice. We got a Popeyes turkey, which I tried so hard to get last year, but they sold out. And let me tell you, it was worth the 2-year wait for that Cajun Popeyes turkey. It was so good.
So turkey over ham guy?
Yeah, I'll eat ham, but I would never choose it. And honestly, turkey and ham are both bottom tier meats for me. But if I'm picking one, give me a Popeyes turkey on Thanksgiving. What about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. The in-laws, 14 of them descended on my house. So that was cool. That's fine.
That's awesome.
14?
Also, Eric in here saying Popeyes turkey slaps. Heck yeah. And JML Sports saying go Browns indeed. Guys, let me back up a little bit. I'm Simon. I didn't even introduce myself here with my co-host Josh and Alex, like I introduced this here. And we do this every week to answer your trade questions. Alex is the creator of these trade value charts. I'll pull it up, the ones that we use to answer these questions. And Alex, for those of you that don't know, do you want to tell them a little bit about how these work as we're approaching the end of the season?
Sure. So what we found is that trades make fantasy fun. So this whole goal of this, that's me. I said that first. I definitely didn't steal that from Josh.
I love that line. No, I love it. You should keep using that, man.
Yeah. But trades make fantasy fun. So really the goal is to make a tool to make trading better. And the best way to do that is to just assign a value so people can conceptually wrap their heads around how can I construct trades that make sense, that are reasonable. So what I do is I actually take rest of season ranks that are publicly available from as many experts as I can pool, push them all together. And then I looked at historical relationships on Reddit as well. It's a whole, we won't get too deep into the model, but what I did is I built a model that assigns trade values to different players. And then what I think is really key is that the graphic, looking at it, running backs in terms of wide receivers, in terms of tight ends, really helps. Really, I think conceptualize it because that's how I like to look at it. So
Carlos in here saying you are looking so hot right now, and then he says, "Wait, I mean his analysis is looking so hot right now." And that freaking autocorrect, so Carlos.
No, but always open, guys. You know what it's about.
Yeah. Alex, I just wanted to say the other day my cousin texted me asking for some trade advice, and I sent him the link to this and was like, "This is the best place to start." And he goes, "That was going to be the next question I asked. I watched your stream the other day, and I wanted to know where to find these." So I'm going to post the link in the chat for everyone watching. If you want to follow along as we're going through these questions, or if you just want to use these to construct your own trades, that way you've got access to them. And guys, I said we kick it off with our first question today that's in here from Navin. It says, I'm looking to upgrade at running back. Who could I get for a mix of Godwin, Damien Harris, Mike Will, Alex Collins, Odell, and Bateman in standard? I was thinking Gibson, but don't want to overpay. So he's just looking at upgrading, and that's his roster. So Alex, do any of those pieces stand out to you as like good trade pieces right now?
Sure. So I think step one is we throw out Alex Collins because who the hell is going to buy Alex Collins? It's probably the same for Bateman because he had a down week, so that's not a good time.
Alex Collins has a value of 8. It's interesting, actually. Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I was scrolling down to try to find him.
I mean, we're okay. We'll take a second. Where do you think Alex Collins should be? Would you put him up? I mean, all of those guys are effectively droppable. If depending on your bench, what you need. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't even know if I would really put him above Deontay Foreman or Boston Scott at this point, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess at the same time, Alex Collins still projects to be the leading ball carrier for the Seahawks. I know he fumbled last week and he got benched. So if the Seahawks can figure it out, they get their offense rolling, maybe there's a chance he's a goal line threat, he's scoring more touchdowns. But yeah, I'm with you, Alex. Like I'm not trying to hype up Alex Collins in any way. He definitely having value of 8 right next to like Hunter Renfro's at 8.5. So I'd rather have Hunter Renfro on my team. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll throw him out just because I don't think you can trade him. I think Odell's interesting. I think Damien Harris would have to be a piece if you're trying to get a running back.
Especially coming off the big Odell game. This is a perfect time to trade him.
So let's look at what Odell plus Damien Harris. So 15.5 plus Odell is down a little
9.5.
bit. Yeah,
No,
9.
sorry,
So
9.5.
that's 24,
25.
25.
And would probably be about 24 in non-PPR, right? I assume
Yeah.
Odell's value goes down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Damien Harris doesn't change. But 24, 25, you're looking at maybe, I don't think you could get James Conner for that, but maybe David Montgomery. I would absolutely buy Aaron Jones for that if I could get that done. I would same thing. I would even do potentially Godwin plus Damien Harris for that level as well. I don't know if you're going to be able to get to Gibson unless you're doing Godwin plus Damien Harris. Then you might be able to get there because Godwin's what? He's 25. Yeah, that seems reasonable. What do you guys think?
I think you might be able to get James Conner, and I would be totally fine with that. I think that's a name where the name value isn't quite enough. That you might be able to get that trade done, even though he is currently a top 10 running back. I'm not sure people are viewing him that way. So
if I could get David Montgomery here, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Trading Odell Beckham and Damien Harris for a David Montgomery type, love it. Yeah. And I know David Montgomery's been disappointing, but the Bears are going to run him.
And his schedule rest of the season looks awesome. I mean, it looks just like he looked last year, where he was just set up for it. We just need to see it execute now.
Yeah, I think that's the range you're looking at, the David Montgomery, James Conner range. And Alex, I liked what you said, though. Aaron Jones, I'd be fine taking that risk. I know he's injured right now, but he's back at practice already. He played I'm expecting him to pick up a larger workload than he did in his first game back. So that's one that I'd be interested in as well. We had another question from Eli. Says 7-5, 12-team PPR, 1 game away from the playoffs.
Let's go,
Josh
Eli.
Allen, J-Rob, DeMonte Pittman, Higgins, Waller, Moreau, and Myers looking to trade Pittman. Any trade ideas? So looking at this lineup, I'm wondering where the upgrade would come at. It's going to be hard to trade Pittman alone for an upgrade at running back. And then you might need to package him with something for an upgrade at wide receiver. But Pittman's value right now, what is that at 15 at the Melvin Gordon value?
He's not really getting a lot of love. And it makes sense. You know, he hasn't produced lately and he's got a tough schedule coming up.
Would you target someone like Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon for a shot at, let's say, one of them goes down and just the potential upside? Would that be something of interest to you guys?
Well,
so he's got
I think Pittman is similar value, just like this chart is saying, to Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams right now from like a fantasy points perspective. So I'm fine with that trade, even if one of them doesn't go down. I'm cool with it. You can make that trade today. I wouldn't bat an eye. But you're right. There is upside. If one of those players goes down, that could be a league-winning type of running back.
However, his running backs are pretty solid. J-Rob and David Montgomery. So maybe that's not the position to really upgrade, starting those two. And I mean, if an injury happens, obviously that's going to be not a good situation.
What if you could package Waller and Pittman to really upgrade at wide receiver, but then his backup
Andrews,
and then start streaming tight ends?
I'd rather just hold on to Waller, and I'd probably hold on to Waller and Pittman and hope that he can produce even through a tough schedule. I mean, he is the number 1 wide receiver for that team. He's very talented, so I think I'm holding tight with this situation personally.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what you're trying to do. If you're looking to do Pittman plus Waller for an upgrade, or Pittman plus Monty or J-Rob for an upgrade, then that makes sense. But I don't see anything that makes a lot of sense just Pittman straight up, because you have a quarterback, you have a solid tight end. Like, I mean, you might be able to go up even with was it Monroe is the backup there that he said he has him as well.
Foster Moreau, yeah.
So that's a good situation. I think while Waller's out, Foster Moreau is going to be a very good tight end.
A very fine tight end. Very good as a strong.
In the landscape of tight ends, right? What's a very good tight end? Is a very good tight end as good as
a very good tight end is someone who's fine.
Yeah. Like I think he's going to get like 7 targets. You know what I'm saying? 7 targets, and let's see what he does with those targets.
That's all you need from a tight end is over 5 targets, and you're probably happy. Carlos says also. Just a reminder, guys, we are going to prioritize trade questions, but we'll try to answer whatever questions you throw in here. But we're going to prioritize trade questions. Carlos wants to know, Alex, can you speak to the huge upsides that Dontrell Hilliard and Amir Abdullah have? Are they considered to be guys with a huge chance of booming this week? I'm
going to say this week they're going to be pretty terrible.
They're both are going to be horrible.
So I've seen. I think people that are
because they're on buys, by the way.
Yeah, they're on buys. Sorry, they're very bad this week. So please do not play them this week. But going forward, I think people that are particularly high on Dontrell Hilliard were probably more box score watching The 80-yard touchdown run was really when they're in like the end of the half. They let it happen, right? Like not on purpose, but I mean they weren't really playing it. And I think McNichols are going to be back. So I wasn't into dropping a bunch of fab on him, but Amir Abdullah is interesting to me because he was at least getting a little more play when Chuba, or like before CMC went out, right? Like he had some snaps, he was seeing some passing down work, and it looks like the Panthers' schedule going forward might favor that pass catching running back a little bit more. So he's the one I actually am grabbing a little bit more versus Hilliard. Whether or not they're going to boom, I don't think so. I think Hilliard in particular has no chance, but there's a chance that Abdullah could be the guy at the Panthers. I don't think like it's not, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance, and I don't think Hilliard has that. What do you guys think?
I'm a little bit higher on Hilliard than you are, but I completely agree with what you're saying about Amir Abdullah. I personally prefer Chuba Hubbard, but that's taking the cost of acquisition out of it, what you're going to pay on the waiver wire. Amir Abdullah is borderline free compared to Chuba Hubbard. Like you're not going to be spending up nearly as much, and there's a non-zero chance, a very real chance based on what we've seen on the field that he's the guy there. The likely scenario is it's split. Neither one of them has good value. But there's a world where Chuba gets all the carries, and there's a world where Amir Abdullah is the guy there. So I think Amir Abdullah is 100% worth putting on the end of your bench just to see what this Panthers team looks like. I will say, though, Carlos, I'm not super excited about either of them, though, because the Panthers have the worst playoff schedule for running backs, like number one worst playoff schedule for running backs. And if it's not CMC, I'm really trying not to start these guys if I can avoid it.
But who's the quarterback there? I mean, they just said Darnold
Cam
might
Newton?
be back. That's terrible.
Well, they locked themselves into Cam Newton for next week at least.
Yeah.
Or obviously not this upcoming week, but the follow. I guess they said he is the starter going forward, more or less. So
he's the starter for week 13.
Yeah, that's all they could commit to. But you're right. I mean, like they do have a really tough schedule, but it does favor a pass catching running back, and Amir Abdullah is getting those targets. Other than week 11, the last 5 weeks, 6 targets, 5 targets, 4 targets, and he's bringing in the pass attempts. So, yeah, maybe Amir Abdullah is closer to Chuba Hubbard than a lot of people think, right? He was on the field 49% of the snaps when Christian McCaffrey, the week just this last week, Chuba Hubbard about 20% of the snaps. I know they were down, so there's probably a reason there, but it's probably going to be a messy situation. They're probably going to split, if I had to guess.
Guys, before we move on to our next question, I want to remind everyone watching, if you are enjoying this, if you're finding value from these charts, I posted the link in the chat to Alex's Reddit page. You can go check out those week 13 trade charts there. And if you want a little bit extra, some super flex rankings, some other things that Alex puts out, you can join his Patreon as well. He's Peaked in High School on Patreon, and I'm going to throw the link in the chat. Show your support over there, and there's some extra stuff they get out of it on the Patreon. Alex, what's included with the Patreon, just so the people watching can know?
Sure. So I will post. It's usually more helpful before the end of the season, but normally the ones on Reddit go out Wednesday morning first thing as soon as I get back from the gym. But the ones you can get on my Patreon actually come out Tuesday. So if you need to start wheeling and dealing before waiver wires run, that's one of the key perks. And then there's also a live spreadsheet. If you don't like these PNG files, which is fair, you want something that you can plug into your own Excel and really, I've seen people make their own tools off of it, which is awesome. That I have a Google spreadsheet where they're updated pretty regularly as well. So you can use that kind of as a backbone as your own API, right? It's kind of neat. And as well as Superflex, 6 point per passing touchdown. I'm going to work on 3 wide receiver leagues next year as well, and maybe a second flex. Well, the math is just a little bit different, but I'm working on those for next year.
Nice. That's awesome. JML Sports in here says Javonte or Kamara this week, half PPR. I got a feeling that Kamara will be limited by snaps against a tough matchup. Hey, here's what I'm going to say. Even if he's limited by snaps, Javonte's already splitting. It's not like you're subbing him in for a back that's getting all the carries already. Worst case scenario is Alvin Kamara gets the same number of snaps as Javonte Williams, and I'll take Kamara in that situation. Do you guys agree, or would you start Javonte?
Perfect breakdown, Simon, in my mind.
I mean, it depends on what the injury reports are, right? I want to start Kamara for sure. If it says, hey, he's going to be on a limited snap count and all that, maybe I would pick the healthy player. But as of right now, with what we know right now, it's Kamara all day.
And they play Thursday night, I believe, the Saints.
So we'll know soon.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You won't have to fret over that one all weekend. Carlos says, is now the time to trade Jamar? I love the guy, but man, it's been tough with Higgins eating up all the points. Jamar for CD, maybe. Let's see where Jamar Chase is on here. Has his value gone down recently? Yeah, 4 whole
If
points.
you could get Jamar Chase for CD Lamb, I'm about it. Even though we don't love those same positional trades, I prefer CD Lamb the rest of the season myself.
Alex, what about you?
I think it'll be hard to get that trade done unless you're trading to a Bengals fan. Now is definitely not the time to sell Jamar Chase. That was 3 weeks ago when he was still on fire. But maybe it's time to get out. Maybe he's hitting the rookie wall. It's hard to say. He isn't getting those long bomb touchdowns that were helping him, but he's absolutely capable of that at any week. So it's hard to move off from him because I think he just is a stud and is going to be a stud for a while. But so is CD. So
I'm fine holding Jamar Chase. That's pretty lateral in my eyes, Jamar to CD. But I guess the one thing is if Amari Cooper is missing time, you get an extra game out of CD where he's the only receiver there. Not the only, sorry. They've got Gallup and Schultz, but without Cooper in the mix as well. That one is tough. Eli says, thanks so much, guys. I snagged Monty for Gaskin plus Damien last week. Nice.
Yeah.
What does the trade chart say about that one? Does it like it?
So
last week it definitely liked it.
Montgomery 25.5, Gaskin. Let's see, where's Gaskin?
There's Damien Harris
13.5, and Damien Harris 15.
So it's about even.
The trade likes it. It likes it.
Plus, you got to pick up
has a little bit more.
Player.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Two very usable players.
Navin says, on top of the guys I listed before, I also have Diggs and Jefferson starting. Would you part with any of those to really upgrade at RB? So Diggs and Jefferson on top of the players you listed up here, which were Godwin, Damian Harris, Mike Williams, Odell, Bateman, Alex Collins. So he's adding Diggs and Jefferson to that. I mean, that definitely upgrades the player maybe you could reach for if you ship off Diggs or Jefferson. But, man, I'm not sure. I guess you got receiver depth, but who would you guys be looking for to move Diggs or Jefferson? Like if you did Diggs plus Damian Harris, what kind of player would you be trying to get?
Mixon, or up maybe not Mixon, but that tippy top of that chart. We're looking at the top. I wouldn't. I mean,
would you do it for Najee?
No. Maybe, I don't know. I'm reasonably concerned about Najee going forward in the Steelers and the rookie wall or whatever and all of that, but like just a terrible offensive line, a terrible offense, and he's getting a lot of touches. Do they break down? So personally, I wouldn't, but I guess it wouldn't be unreasonable. What do you guys think?
I'm fine with it. I don't know what the running back situation actually looks like. I know earlier he said he had Damian Harris and Alex Collins. I don't know if those are his only 2 running backs. If that's the case, that's scary. So I don't know if, what about packaging instead of like holding on to Diggs and Jefferson, just knowing that context does provide us with a lot, and knowing that he was more interested in trading Godwin, who, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous for Godwin once Antonio Brown comes back. Not like that he's not going to be a good wide receiver at all. He's going to be great. It's just, I think he's going to be more inconsistent. So what if he packaged Godwin and Damian Harris for like a Leonard Fournette?
I don't think
How does
that's
that
enough.
make you feel? You don't think it's enough?
I don't think it's enough to get Leonard Fournette, to be honest.
I think you can try.
I
think it might.
Yeah.
He says he has Kamara and Ingram.
Oh, yes, Kamara.
Ingram. So Kamara.
Well, then you definitely want to upgrade Ingram, right?
If you can do Godwin and Damian Harris for Leonard Fournette, I know you don't think it's enough, but I don't think it's an insulting offer by any means.
No, it's not. Yeah. It really depends on does the Cordell Patterson owner, does the Zeke owner? I wouldn't be targeting Zeke. Does the Leonard Fournette Robinson owner? Do they need those depth pieces? That's where you're looking. I mean, but if you have Kamara and Ingram, you can't move off of Ingram. You have to hold for right now. But
now I know the trade chart's not going to like this, but would you do like a Godwin and Damian Harris for James Robinson or Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah, yes. I was going to bring up Elijah Mitchell. I think I would. Sometimes when you're the person with 2 players, you give up a little bit of value to get the best player in the deal, and I'm totally cool with that, especially this time of year.
Should you do it for Barkley?
No.
What about Antonio Gibson or Daryl Henderson?
No.
Maybe if Daryl Henderson didn't have the injury right now.
It's the injury concern on all of it. Same thing with Swift. That's why I didn't bother, because
I think
Gibson for me a little bit.
Mitchell's where I draw the line.
Carries.
Mitchell and above, I'd probably do it for, including Zeke in my eyes. I would still do it for Zeke, but that's where that line is for me.
I'm right there with you guys.
Matt's in here says, hey guys, interesting question for y'all. I'm in a vampire league and I get to steal a player. Do I take Mahomes or Fournette? My QB is Russ right now, and his running backs are Kamara, Matterson, Cordero Patterson, and Mitchell. So my initial reaction was Fournette until you showed us your running backs. You are loaded at running back. Fournette would be sitting on your freaking bench. Mahomes is an immediate upgrade at that quarterback position. Like a huge upgrade. I am so nervous about Russ rest of season. I'm with Alex. It's Mahomes for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's the answer.
Insane.
But it is. It's crazy.
and part of it is because what I'm looking for is that high upside to win, right? Like Fournette's going to be great, but Mahomes can just go like we've seen MVP Mahomes and just win you your league because you already have that RB depth. So I'm looking for that upside. And Russ is technically a QB right now, but
no, you cannot feel good about putting Russ as your quarterback in fantasy going forward until you see it happen. After that, maybe, but
man, we got to do a vampire league next year, Josh.
I just looks like so much fun.
Stealing something from someone.
Let's do it.
I also
you got a spot, guys. I'll join you.
Let's make it happen. Okay.
Right, have you heard of a zombie league? It's where one team doesn't draft, only picks up players off the waiver wire. The other 11 teams draft. If that player beats a team, they get to steal a player from them. So it's like a vampire league, but only one team is the zombie. And if that team wins, there's some extra payout. Like it's basically like it's a thing that can snowball if they can pull off that first win with waiver wire players only.
I would like to see like the percentages on that, like if they even like have those available somewhere, like how often like the zombie team actually wins, or maybe they win more often than not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I bet it's something. There's like a certain point. I bet there's probably not many wins between 3 and 6, because if you win 3, you probably win 10 or 11. Bam in here says was offered Devontae Adams and Gibson for CD and Joe Mixon.
Ooh.
Do I accept?
Let's see the numbers, huh? Devontae Adams is at 51.5. It was, and then and CD Lamb is 31.5. And then the running backs were Gibson and Mixon. So Mixon's up here at 57. 57.5.
And Gibson's at like that 30-ish range, if I remember
29.5. Yeah.
So that's 81 on the Devontae Adams and Gibson side.
Yeah, 82. And then about 80 on the other side. So it's a very, 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 very close trade. It's like 80, a little over 80. Yeah, they're both a little over 80.
I guess I don't see
this is extremely fair trade.
Yeah. What's the goal? Like why would you want to move off of Mixon, who's probably carrying your team, downgrade it? I don't see a reason to do that trade, to be honest. There's nothing like if it was a value of 90 versus 80 or 100 versus 80, in terms of player value, sure, because there's something driving. But right now, I would just keep the guys you got.
I think the downgrade from Mixon to Gibson is way more than the upgrade from CD to Devontae Adams in my eyes. Mixon's a top 3 guy rest of season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about
where is he
and the trade chart agrees.
Where do you think he's getting drafted next year? You think he's a top 3 pick?
No, I don't.
I think people will do it again.
Running back, I bet.
I don't know. I bet Cook, Kamara. Like, I bet a lot of these guys are still going to be over him. I just like the way public perception is about Joe Mixon. You think so?
And I still think CMC is going to get picked above Mixon.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think he deserves to be a top 5 running back drafted next year.
Yeah,
I don't think he will be based on
then there's going to be Najee Harris and Joe. Like I feel like a lot of people are going to take Najee Harris over Joe Mixon. I'm not saying that's right. I'm a big Joe Mixon fan. I've been all year. So he'll probably be in my top 5, maybe top 3.
Yeah, I have him at 3 right now, but I'm just curious.
So Jonathan Taylor, then who?
Derrick Henry.
And then sorry, what was your question? I was reading theirs.
You said he was he was 3 for you. I was just wondering who was ahead of him.
Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and then Mixon. And it really depends on scoring format. And then it kind of, but that's just my gut.
I have a feeling that people like average draft position. People are still gonna have Christian McCaffrey at 3 there.
I think I'm not sure he's at 3, but I bet he's ahead of Mixon. I wouldn't be shocked to see Mixon as the 7th or 8th running back drafted next year, even though I don't think he should be. Eric Iney says, what kind of pick return should I hope to get for a backup QB in a dynasty superflex league? Trubisky to the Allen manager, Minshew to the Hurts manager, etc. And Eric, I'm going to be honest with you. In superflex dynasty leagues, I almost have no interest in my backup quarterback. I just want a different starter. You know what I mean? My depth is not in getting the backups for my own quarterbacks. It's if I've got Allen and Hurts, I've got Baker Mayfield on my bench as a backup, or Derek Carr on my bench as a backup, not Trubisky. Maybe a fourth. Like, truly, that's the kind of value I think I'm looking at, is like a 4th round pick.
If you can get more than that, sure. But like in my 10-team, pretty competitive Superflex Dynasty League, Trubisky is on the waivers. We don't have super deep benches, and that's why. And he will get picked up soon. But I mean, by me. But like, you're really not going to get a lot, but you can always ask for it, right? You can always ask for a third, especially for Trubisky. I don't think Minshew's worth almost anything, because he's.
I think Minshew's worth as much as Trubisky personally,
really?
Just because I think there's a non-zero chance that that Minshew plays without Hurts getting injured.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, and that's not happening with Josh Allen and Trubisky, obviously.
Bam in here says, also in my other league, half PPR was offered Keenan Allen, Elijah Mitchell. I almost said Eli Manning, and Bateman for my Diggs and Gaskin. I'm not liking it, but my mind can always be changed. So Keenan Allen, Elijah Mitchell, and Rashad Bateman for Diggs and Gaskin.
No. Oh, is it a dynasty? He said no.
Keeper. Oh wait, no, not keeper. Half PPR.
No.
Well, I'm not as adamant about you.
Yeah,
the downgrade from Diggs to Keenan isn't that much in my eyes, and I think it's a clear upgrade from Gaskin to Elijah Mitchell. Like, I would much rather have Elijah Mitchell.
It's Elijah. I was thinking Elijah Moore. Yeah. Elijah Mitchell.
I'm assuming Elijah
so
Mitchell.
Much more sense. Yeah. Holy crap!
Okay. It's got to be Elijah Mitchell.
I thought you guys were nuts for a second.
He gave us his RB depth, so I'm assuming it's Elijah Mitchell. And if that's Elijah Mitchell, I like this.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was wondering. I was like, Josh, you're the highest on Elijah Mitchell. Yeah,
I would do that. That seems very reasonable. I'm not. How do you guys feel about Bateman rest of the season? Like, are you super interested in him?
He's fine. He's
not
a
very
flex
interested
guy sometimes.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think you can. He's an emergency flex play for me.
Yep.
I think Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews are going to be the target leaders for the rest of the season. Bateman's a great dynasty asset. This season, I just don't have a ton of faith in Bateman.
Yep. What's up, Justin? Welcome in. Glad to have you here in Front Yard Fantasy. With a reminder, if you're enjoying this show, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It is the easiest way to show your support for the shows we're doing over here, guys. And like I said,
those guys at Front Yard are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're all right. They're
fine.
They're fine.
It always. They're no Alex. They're no Peaked in High School. But
That's
they're,
true.
They're all
That's
right.
True.
Also, Jay saying 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning. Who was Jay? I was talking to my girlfriend's family the other day and said, without a doubt, every time I say Eli Manning in front of you, it's guaranteed that you correct me to 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning. Each and every time.
Just like you bring up Joe Flacco, I'll bring up that Super Bowl run he had. You know, he threw 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. Man, you know, like it was elite.
I bring up his chiseled jaw.
That's fantastic.
I know we saw in the chat earlier, someone asked, I didn't pull it up yet, that where does Deonta Foreman fall on the value chart right now? Have they
7.5 below Alex Collins?
Yeah, that's
so. Would you rather have Alex Collins or Deonta Foreman rest of season?
Pass. I mean, yeah,
like we're both like I'm like I want to answer. It's Foreman. It's Foreman. I'm gonna take the shot on Foreman. Hope he gets all these carries for the Titans. He's not gonna be Derrick Henry, but this Titans team, you know, they like to run the ball and they look better than the Seahawks do at this point. So if Foreman's the guy and he's getting all these carries like he did last week, I'll take him.
Foreman's safe. He's going to get his 10 to 15 touches, and he's going to be fine with them. And has a shot at a touchdown. Does Collins have a shot at a touchdown right now? I mean, they just can't move the ball.
Yeah, not right now. Not with the way this offense looks.
Russ is done. It seems like not. I'm not talking career wise. I'm talking this year with the Seahawks. Yeah. Russ is still a great quarterback. He truly seems like he is so fed up with being part of this Seahawks franchise that he doesn't look like the same guy on the field. He just doesn't. And I hate going down narrative street with that, but sometimes the narratives tell the story, and that's what it's looking like with Russell Wilson right now. There's no reason the Seahawks team should be 3-8 with Russell Wilson at the helm, the wide receivers they have. Their defenses looked fine at points.
DK Metcalf had 1 catch last week.
That's insane, like truly absurd. Don't tell me there's not something going on with Russ with his play right now.
You see
just watch it. He can't. The balls don't look right. He's throwing. Sorry, what was that, Alex?
Yeah, no, never mind. I changed my mind. They said it all coincided with that TMZ article about DK and the foursome with the OnlyFans. Did you see that?
Alex, I missed it entirely. Had no idea what was going on. And then during the game, I saw all these jokes about it, and I was like, every single one of these jokes is straight over my head.
Yeah.
And the number of things I Googled to try to find that TMZ article, I do not recommend going down the Google rabbit hole. It was like Russell Wilson foursome, like I didn't even know what player was involved. I just saw all these jokes about it. Didn't quite understand what was going on. Yeah. Matt in here says, I think I might go Mahomes. Thanks, guys. I thought Fournette was a lock take at first, but Russ is, I'm with you. When I first read the question, I immediately was like, Fournette. But showing us your team, Mahomes makes more sense.
This is why context matters, right? It's like you tell me who you want in your fantasy, Patrick Mahomes or Leonard Fournette at this point. It's Leonard Fournette, but.
Bam wants to know, does Kamara's value drop in the charts if he ends up missing again this week? And also the new addition of Taysom at QB. So it looks like Kamara went up in value.
Yeah, I think they were definitely banking on him playing this week based on it seemed like he was close last week from the injury reports.
Yeah.
I
expect him to play this week.
Yeah, I expect he's going to play. He did practice yesterday, I think, on the report.
Yeah. I think it was a little limited, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about Taysom at QB because anything's better than Trevor Siemian. I think Jameis Winston on crutches is better than. And I think it was kind of overblown with what happened last year. It was a very limited sample size of him not getting thrown the ball. Like Kamara's going to catch the ball, he's going to get thrown the ball. If he misses this week, he's absolutely going to drop because now it's been several weeks and it's worrisome. I expect he would go into the 30s pretty quickly, and we'll know tomorrow probably.
What's up, Pangs Picks? Welcome in, Davis. Glad to have you here. If you got any trade questions, let us know. And we got Carlos in here saying, imagine Russ to the Steelers. Damn, him plus Claypool. Please don't send Russ to the Steelers as a Browns fan. I can't. Oh, man. Lamar, Joe Burrow, and Russell Wilson would really make me feel bad about Baker Mayfield as the Browns quarterback.
I do not like this. Do not put this into the universe, Carlos.
No, you're talking to a Ravens fan and a Browns fan. That is not what we want because it would be awesome. You're right. That would be awesome for the Steelers.
I'll be honest, like the Aaron Rodgers scares me a little bit more still. I know Russ is a little bit younger, but Aaron Rodgers just throwing dimes to Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. Don't like it.
Carlos saying, universe, hear me now.
I think Najee would probably get less targets, but he hit a much better offense. He would, If Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers, he's a top 3 running back.
Hey, you know what, though? With the current state of the Steelers' offensive line, Russell Wilson might truly be the better quarterback for that team right now. He's used to running for his life behind a messed up O-line, and Aaron Rodgers is not. I feel like he would get frustrated quickly with as poor as the Steelers' O-line is, but Russell Wilson would be like, feels like home. He would just be right back to the same old shit that he's used to dealing with.
How interesting do you think Trubisky would be on the Steelers next year?
Less interesting than Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Like, as a Browns fan, I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, I will say more reasonable.
Yeah.
I will say this, that Trubisky, he played his time in Chicago and didn't look great, but what are the quarterbacks in Chicago looking like right now? Justin Fields had a lot of hype and he's looked like crap. Andy Dalton hasn't done anything to inspire anyone. Maybe Mitch Trubisky isn't as bad as he looked when he was in Chicago. Just maybe. I'm not saying that's for certain. I'm not saying he's a buy-in super flex rate.
It's not just Mitch Trubisky that could be signed there. There's a lot of other names, kind of these backup level quarterbacks that I think the Steelers could look at that are free agents next year. Marcus Mariota, Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Nick Foles, Andy Dalton. Every single one of these guys is a free agent in 2022.
Andy Dalton with the Steelers would be funny.
That would be hilarious right there. We've got some more questions in here. Idan says, should I trade Lockett and Jamal Williams for Alexander Madison? Must win for playoff spot. So that is a clear upgrade at running back from Jamal Williams for Alexander Madison, but both of them are good plays this week is the problem with the respective starters out.
Do we know that Swift's out? I
I
mean,
guess we do not know for sure that Swift is out.
seems likely though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did Dan Campbell? What did he
Dan
say?
Campbell's quote was, he is still sore. It is hard to say that he will play this weekend.
I think I would do it. I mean, especially if you have to win. Madison's definitely going to be the starter for 2 or 3 weeks, or is what they were
I
anticipating.
think it's 2 weeks is what they said for sure. Weeks 13
He's
and 14.
definitely out for 2 weeks. Dalvin Cook, they're saying.
But they didn't put him on IR
in the whole season. I could see it still being the whole season, though. I could see it.
What does the trade value chart say about this? I'm curious where Madison is right now.
It definitely leans towards the Lockett side because Alexander Madison's at 20.5, Lockett himself is at 18, and Jamal Williams is at 9.5. And I'm assuming that gets a little bit of a jump if he ends up being the starter this week, which I do envision. And I will say that I think that Jamal Williams this week is a good start. Not as good as Alexander Madison, all right? Definitely not as good as Alexander Madison. But is Tyler Lockett a starter for your fantasy team right now, or is he riding the bench? If he's riding the bench, then this is an easy trade to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm cool with it either way. I think Lockett's value is likely to go down over the next couple weeks on this chart. Like if I had to project the direction he's going to move, I don't see it skyrocketing. I'm trying to get out from under a lot of these Seahawks offensive pieces. I'm cool with this trade. You get at least 2 weeks out of Alexander Madison and plus matchups, especially this week against the Detroit Lions, and you got to win. I would do this.
Yeah. I think it's a smart move, especially if Lockett's not starting for you, or if he is, maybe getting someone else in there to start for you might be good too.
Yeah, seriously. Like I know Lockett has been okay, even with Russell Wilson's struggles, but man, this whole offense is scary.
Brendan wants to know, you think Phillip Lindsay or DJ Dallas is worth the pickup? I'm very down bad for RBs right now. Look for, I'd rather Amir Abdullah over both of these guys. If Amir Abdullah is out there on the waiver wire, I guess if I had to pick one of these guys, do you guys have a preference between DJ Dallas and Phillip Lindsay?
Lindsay, I guess we've seen Lindsay be. Didn't he go to was he an all pro? I don't remember. He was something.
His rookie
year with the Broncos. He won me a couple championships and then lost a couple for me the following year.
We know Phillip Lindsay is a good between the tackles, 20 to 20 yard, between the 20s runner who does surprisingly well on the goal line for a small dude. I mean, there's a chance because I don't think Gaskin's very good. I also don't think Alex Collins is very good. So, but I don't know if I want DJ Dallas if Alex Collins is out. I mean, that's why I would lean Lindsay, but I'm holding my nose for both of them.
Phillip Lindsay's definitely the pickup over DJ Dallas in my mind. I mean, he got 12 carries last week. He wasn't extremely efficient with them. I'd like to see him more involved in the receiving game, but Carolina has a decent rush defense. They were up big, and that might have been a reason why he got so many carries, and Gaskin's going to be involved still. It's Lindsay. It's Lindsay.
I agree with you guys on that one. It is Lindsay, but I'm not excited about either one.
You know what you're doing here. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, Brendan.
Yeah.
So.
Bam said, question for the Ravens fan, LOL. Is Aaron Rodgers a better option rest of season over Lamar? Was this Sunday night football game a fluke game from the illness rust?
Yeah. So I just want to see that what their value's at. So Aaron Rodgers at 13.5, Lamar Jackson's at 16. I'm going to tell you right now, I have Lamar Jackson in my fantasy lineup every week, even over Aaron Rodgers. Maybe I'm a little biased, but that rushing floor he's able to provide for your fantasy team is elite. I wouldn't want to get caught with my pants down and Lamar Jackson on my bench.
What if it's 6 point per passing touchdown?
Oh, that does change it. That does change it quite a bit. Okay, I'll lean. I don't play in many 6 point per passing touchdown leagues, but yeah, it's probably Aaron Rodgers. He's looked really good, even with his toe injury. He's looked so good.
Yeah, I think that would make. I think it's really depending on your format in that case. Like if you get hurt for picks, I don't want Lamar. If it's 6 point, then I lean Aaron Rodgers. But they're about coin flips. It's purely up to scoring format at that point.
And that was Lamar Jackson's worst game ever last week. I do project better weeks ahead for Lamar. I think it's going to be okay. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a great fantasy quarterback still.
Yep. Eric also coming in here saying bag to 23 fourth for Minshew. Nice. Take what you can get. That works. Cool. Nice job, Eric.
You know what I love doing with these picks in Superflex leagues too, 3rd, 4th round picks? I love grabbing young quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks that, maybe got drafted in the 3rd round and they could end up something. And then, they end up the starter for their team. Like Gardner Minshew did at one point. He had a lot of trade value at one point for a few, in the midst of him, going off for the Jaguars. So you could have gotten much more than a fourth for him, So just that's just how I would play it.
Yeah, I mean, we see guys like Dak, who was a fourth round pick, kind of break out. I'm not like, don't expect a Dak with those picks, but
no,
you grab some of these guys and stuff happens. You never know who's going to end up being a starter right there. Those are lottery tickets. Guys, I think that is going to be it for the trade value talks today. Alex, thank you so much for joining us for this. It's always a pleasure having the man behind the charts himself join us and talk through a bunch of these questions. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's always great. I mean, hopefully see you guys next year.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm excited about it.
I'll miss you. No, don't say that.
We can do some dynasty later. We'll talk.
Okay. Perfect. But seriously, Alex, I personally use these charts. I love these charts. Thank you for doing everything that you do.
It's a labor of love.
And before you say it, trading makes fantasy fun.
Let's hit this one
As
real
I always say.
Yes, of course.
As our closer, let's hit this last question from Dill Shark. And a PPR non-keeper and can trade draft picks. Traded a third for Mixon. Should I trade Chubb for a fifth so my draft isn't screwed next year? Clinched playoffs too. Fournette is my RB2. Mitchell, Demont, D-Moore is flex. Nope. I am not doing that because you know what? You don't play to win next year. Play to win this year, and Chubb is going to help you do that right now. If you trade Chubb for a fifth, you're decreasing your chances of winning a title this year. I'm not about that. I'm all about you're in the playoffs. You're trying to win. I couldn't make that move.
I also don't like trading picks if you don't have keepers. Trade all your picks for players, win this year, and then don't come back next year. Like that's it's like a terrible.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's the issue I see with that scoring format, where you don't have keepers. There's no incentive. That's why. Don't actually do that. That's terrible advice. Don't be a dick. It's just as important. But I mean, that's why I don't like that.
Yeah,
I want more than a fifth if I were going to do it.
Yeah, you would need to get like a second at least for me in my eyes if you were going to do that. But good luck pulling that off. And Eric also got a 22 fourth for Trubisky. Guys,
let's go, Eric. Good job.
We got time. You know what? I said we were jumping off. We're going to hit this one more time. 8-4-10 NPR, we had to do it. Aaron Jones for CD. Would you guys do that right now?
Yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Aaron Jones, 23.5. CD.
Yes, solid running back.
Yep, and you got the depth at running back. Eckler, Henderson, Michelle, Mitchell.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. His wide receivers are awful.
Do this. That's a great trade for you. NPR. Makes sense for your team construction. Absolutely.
Do it.
So go ahead and do that one. Guys,
absolutely.
On that note, a unanimous agreement on a trade. We are going to jump off. Alex, thank you so much again, guys. If you have not done so already, make sure you check out Alex's trade charts. You can find them on Reddit at PeakedInHighSkool. I posted the link in the chat earlier, and find them on Patreon as well. Show a little support and get some of those extra goodies that come along with the Patreon subscription. We are out of here. Josh and I will be back with some others for the Fantasy Football Game Show at 3 p.m.
Jake Seeley on.
Jake Seeley's coming on to play Fantasy Fortune with us. So make sure you join in over there, hang out with us. But until then, adios, everyone.
Hey, see ya.